Hello everybody, my name is Sydney Ferris and welcome to my channel. Today I'm just making a quick video about an introduction to this channel, its purposes, things like that. So please, feel free to skip over this one if you want to get to the good stuff, absolutely, please feel free. But I just wanted to emphasize that this is not a channel that I'm creating for, like all the new do-it-yourself stuff or any gaming type stuff. I actually have a gaming channel. If you're interested in that, you can message for details. I just don't want to really advertise that too much on here because it's not really a relevant forum right now. I still work on it all the time, and I'm very much looking forward to putting out some more things. But for right now, you are here on my channel, labeled as such my name, Sydney Ferris, meaning that my other channel has a pseudonym, much like, well, it's not that hard to name a famous YouTube celebrity, right? So I just wanted to say that because I'm absolutely not here to try and get views for monetization for oh yeah, go see my gaming channel. No, this is I just had to say that. By the way, I tend to go different million different places at once. This is going to be for the people who are still here. This channel has been opened up very specifically for the purposes of pretty much, if you read the description, bringing people together and opening a dialogue again. The basic laydown, because I can get into all this in different videos for another day, is that we have become, as Americans, by the way, if you're not an American, you still have an opinion. Absolutely, you see what's going on with us, and you see it all over social media. Right now, we are a nation divided, and that's nothing new, but it's getting bad. You've got militant organizations like Antifa out there pushing people around, bullying people, telling people, well, if you don't agree with what we're saying, then you can get out and we're going to beat the hell out of you. And people aren't going to want to hear that. But it's true. You see it all the time. Footage, you hear people being blocked from speech. You hear people getting hunted down in the parking lot, grabbing knives and pitchforks. These people are in freaking full riot gear, terrorizing people. That's where we are right now. And that whole thing right there, I think, sums up where we are as a people right now. Used to be a time when you could have, Bill Clinton, a Democrat in office, and then the next year you've got, George W. Bush, who ran as a Republican. Used to be that was okay. Used to be you would say, candidate didn't win, but hopefully this person has the good of the country in mind. It's not as simple as all that anymore. Now more than ever, as far as I can tell, there are social issues, some of which do not need elevating to the point they're at, and some of which are absolutely important, that have been moved around social media, which, by the way, I didn't really have much of when I was growing up. I just want to preface it with that. And that, again, that's another topic we can get into at another time. When I was growing up, I had social media like LiveJournal or DeadJournal. Actually, I knew about DeadJournal before I knew about LiveJournal, so I was like, clever. I got MySpace, not in high school. I'm pretty sure I got that sometime early 2000s, and I didn't even get a Facebook until 2009 for a show I was in. The cast was like, "Hey, we were, all sharing photos amongst ourselves. Do you wanna take a look at those?" I was like, "Absolutely, I'll join Facebook." And I'm not gonna say I regret joining Facebook, but my God, drama central. So the thing about it is, I am a person who is in a very, very unique situation. I am a self-proclaimed pansexual, transgender, female, and as you can see, I'm the enemy. I'm white. I know. Just based on your skin color, that's ridiculous. How can you declare yourself the enemy? Well, that is a great question. And that's stuff that I want to get into in this channel. The whole point of this is that while I might suck at making videos, and believe me, you can ask anybody, look at my you're my gaming channel. I don't put in any live snippets of me and my co-host or co-hosts, since there are a few that are going to be coming to the show pretty soon here. I don't care about views, obviously, because it's like I'm not putting that much work into it, and that's something that I'm doing for my own leisure. But this this affects all of us, and it's affecting me now personally more than ever. To give you an idea about the introduction, for the introduction purposes, I didn't write a script for this, as you can tell. I must have started the video over several times. I am an autistic adult, meaning that I am now on what's considered the autism spectrum. Growing up, it was kind of an escalation of things. Now, I'm not giving you the full facts as my parents might have, but as I recall, first it was attention deficit disorder, and then we skipped right to Asperger's. I don't know when we skipped to Asperger's, but I know that I wasn't made aware of it until high school, probably sophomore or junior year, because I remember there was a specific individual I worked with. Now, I'm saying that to say this. I have a lot of stuff going on with me personally, but I seek to talk about things, okay? If you're going to tell me that white people are evil because they're white or they have no say in something, that's racism. That's, okay, let me take that back. I'm not going to say that's racism, but I am going to say it's awfully hypocritical to be demonizing a group of individuals, and not just a group, a whole race, and then want them on your side. Example, my friend, who shall remain nameless, because I don't want any publicity coming down on them for this, they just need to be left the hell alone, was a fantastically big supporter of the Black Lives Matter movement. But, and I use this but in here, okay, there's absolutely a reason to want to stand up for things that you feel are being unjust lately. But here's the problem that I had with it, and this is all just, I'm trying to throw in a few examples so you kind of have an idea of what's going to be coming up in store here, and this is just the beginning. The problem is, back during the Black Lives Matter movement, there were all sorts of things going on. There were things that were not helping the problem in history as well. Like, absolutely. You know, it's like, absolutely, you can be seeing like this looking one way, or this is, oh, it's exactly as it looks, you know. We have to raise attention about this. The problem is, people like myself, white people, you know, ancestors of European immigration, okay? By the way, I can't call myself a European American, you know, but a black person who was born here, lived here over their life, they could be African American. Tell me how that works. Not an issue. What happened is, he got caught up with a lot of strangers online. And I'm not trying to demonize the strangers. I was like, whoa, careful who you associate yourself with. We were friends. And so was another person of mine. All three of us were friends. We were in the same group, let's say. And he went real quick from, hey, let's talk about this, blah, 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 to, okay, well, I have all these people behind me online right now, and we're going to call you a racist. We're going to call you not caring. And I said, why? Because I'm trying to have a discussion? Now, I'm not saying that, okay, what are you whining about? I didn't say anything like that. Having a discussion, having an open forum, and openly speaking out, saying, I am against you saying that white people do this. Which, by the way, here's a multiple choice question. What's the answer that you get most commonly when you say that I'm a white person and I don't like you saying that white people, this blah, 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 white supremacy, patriarchy? Is it A, something completely insane, B, something even more insane, or C, something that avoids it altogether, saying, well, not all white people? I think it's pretty obvious what it is. And that's because that saying not all white people isn't an insane thing to say by any stretch of the mind, but the conversation becomes full of lunacy when you just say, oh, you know, I don't mean all, blah, 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 blah. No, you're backtracking. That's what it is. These are small examples. The most recent one of which really hurt me. That same friend, that was a mutual friend of me and this other person, I told you, got to keep up with me like it. The way I communicate is a little bit off kilter for sure. By the way, I hope you're all enjoying my microphone here that I'm not officially using. I bought it to do YouTube gaming videos, and I haven't used it for gaming once. I've used it for some other things, but it's just here for show now. A little tacky, a little stupid, maybe. I don't know. You decide. It's your opinion. You have a right to it. I think it's dumb, but it's in here now. The thing is, to bring it back to a more serious note, you know, let's get really serious. I was friends with somebody for the last 12 years. 12 years. The one about the Black Lives Matter friend, by the way, that person I was friends with less time, but not significantly. Well, not too significantly less. Probably like a few years later we became friends, but that's because we hadn't really met before then. I think they were even still in high school while I was doing that one show. I'm pretty sure. Just thinking, but I'm not sure. Um, what happened is a friend of mine posted an article saying Trump plans or proposes to take down pride flags at the U.S. embassies, right? And I didn't say, hell yeah, this is America. You don't fly them over the embassy. That's just tacky. Okay. And I didn't say, well, what the hell's the big problem about? Right? What I said is, I can almost quote this directly. I can almost quote this. I said, I'm not too much on the up and up of politics and U.S. embassies. But it seems to me that this is a really confusing article because I don't know what the policy on flags is in the first place, right? I came out and admitted that I was uneducated on the topic. And I said, okay, is this something that is normally done? I did say that. Is this something that is normally done? Now, one of his friends, like people do online, they didn't have anything to say. They had an angry emoji to give. Okay, I was going to let that go. And my friend responds with, Sydney, I don't understand how you can be so narrow-minded. Why is this such a problem? Now, that's not their initial response. Their initial response was something more along the lines of, well, yeah, that is normal practice, so yes, they can, or something like that. Again, I didn't call into question whether or not they can. I said, I don't know. Okay? I said, I don't know. Calling into question would mean, like, hey, should they be doing this? No, like, literally, do they do this? Can they do this? Like, fly the pride flag? That's great. But, like, me thinking outside from somebody else's perspective, right? A U.S. embassy is U.S. soil that's, considered U.S. soil. It's like, it's a building for people overseas in different countries to come to saying, hey, you're back in the U.S. now. It's okay. Let's figure something out. I don't know these things, okay? And that's a big problem all in of itself, which I'll get to in just a moment. But the biggest problem is, we had this discussion, and I said, hey, listen, I really don't know. All right? And I said this because I'm a human and I'm full of emotion and I'm full of I'm full of female hormones more so than male that I've ever had in my life. And I said, listen, your friend there making the faces, I don't give a shit about them. That's you can tell them because they're not going to listen to me. I said, you can tell them that if they'd like to participate in the discussion, please feel free to. I would love to discuss with somebody. All right. And this was their response to that. The response to that was, well, this person has been through a lot of bigotry and, like, I don't know, sexism, would you call it? Or, I don't know, homophobia, I guess. I don't know. They're saying they've been a real good, pillar in this community for, like, people that have put up with a lot of stuff. So they have a right to speak. I'm like, I didn't say they didn't have a right to speak. I said they can give me laughy faces, angry faces, emojis, all they want. But I really just have to stand up for somebody who's, again, full of emotion, saying, why are you giving me all these emotion emojis and you have nothing to contribute, right? I said, you and I have an understanding. You know me, okay? I'm me. I'm a living trans person with real feelings, real things, and I'm bringing into question why it is I'm supposed to be okay with just sharing things just to get reactions and stuff, and nobody's talking about it. That's who I am. And maybe that's the autism. Maybe it's the fact that I grew up around a lot of people who just wanted to shout instead of talk. I don't know. What that conversation ended up doing is ruining a friendship. And I made the decision, by the way. They didn't cut me out, and that's good, Absolutely. The thing is, my friend would not stand by me. Not only would my friend not stand by me, when we were just having this simple discussion about, okay, what is the normal procedure? I need context. That's the word I'm looking for. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't take into account nowadays. Context. I'm not saying context is going to solve all problems. I'm not saying if somebody shouts N-word over here in a public forum in the freaking White House during a press secretary event, that's just, you need any context. Like, no, there's no context that makes that good. Okay? That's what it is. Okay? If it's a fact, it happened, okay, cool. By the way, I don't, as far as I know, nothing like that happened. I'm just using it as an example. Um, the real thing to keep in mind here, I would think, is that he then started another comment thread talking about, oh, I'm in such a bad position right now, and I don't understand how, particularly a lot of my specific friends, some specifically in the LGBTQ community, what happened to gay straight? Don't take that at face value. I'm just saying, when I was in high school, it was Gay Straight Alliance, and now there's like, it's like pie. Now there's so many numbers and stuff to tack onto it, and I'm like, dude, that's not how an organization name works. That's not how a concept works. Okay, like, simplify it. I'm not going to say all those things. He basically said, I can't believe that some very specific people are like take a certain stance on this. It's baffling to me, and I'm like. Then their friend made a shitty comment like, oh, it's because they're uneducated or they don't know what they're talking about or blah, 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 blah. I'm like, you can tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. That's fine. I came out and said I don't know what I'm talking about. I sought a dialogue. I sought education. And it wasn't even from an opinion or viewpoint that wasn't my own. Of course it's my own. I'm part of the community. But God forbid I should try to speak up and say, okay, well, tell me, why is this a bad thing? Not even questioning them, like not even trying to come into this conversation of like authoritative figure, like, okay, well, why do you think this is bad? Not trying to debate them, not trying to even mediate a debate. I'm trying to say, please tell me, is this even normal? I didn't even know it. Now, the reason I asked is because, someone could easily say, well, why don't you just Google it? And that's the problem with a lot of where we are today. Everybody wants to say, well, Google it. I'll text somebody, be like, hey, what was that place that you went to, blah, 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 and blah, 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 blah. I'll say, Google it. Or I'll say, okay, they'll state something, right? I'm like, oh, dude, where did you figure that out? They're like, Google it. Why are we associated with one another if our answer is going to be Google it? Like, if I ask you a question about something of a field you're in, I want to pick your brain and I want a human reaction because of course I could just use the internet. For Christ's sake, if we could just use the internet and online for everything and not freaking need a single thing from anybody, right? Kind of. I mean, like, just about anything will come to your house now. Crap. It's nothing new. Doctors have been coming to your house for ages. Like, we could just sit around and Google everything. But my whole thing is that I then told him, like, very flat out, like, I don't appreciate the fact that you're starting a new comment thread and not responding to me, and now you're grouping me in with these people. And okay, yes, he didn't name me by name, but come on. Let's agree on what he was talking about. He then said, I really need to leave this conversation. I'm feeling stressed out right now. And listen, I'm a person who deals with extreme depression and severe anxiety every day. I don't think extreme is the technical term, but severe anxiety I was diagnosed with, and depression. Okay, and the thing about depression, the thing about anxiety is they go away and then they come back. They never go truly away. Okay, I understand being stressed out, and in any situation where it was me and just them, I would say, okay, take your time, you come back to me. The problem is, here's where this whole video is leading to, and this is where everything on this channel and my future book that I'm trying to write is going. I sent him a message and I said, listen, you and I have been friends for 12 years. I asked you a simple question to get discussion going so that I could be better informed. Okay? Now, the reason that I did that is because I see a lot of people sharing things. Now, I didn't group this into this following category, by the way. I did not. I see people share a lot of things, and they sure have something to say online. And what are they saying offline? That's not, hey, join Antifa or boo. What are they saying? And that's just it. Is I told him that I was seeking a dialogue between friends. I counted on him as somebody who's way more strongly involved in the community than I am. The thing about me is, I'm bisexual, leaning on the side of straightness, considering my scientific status as a man who is more effeminate, right? It's in my nature, number one, and number two, it's my preference. It's like I've never been with a guy. I don't know about that. What I'm saying is, I told you, different places at once. I can't stay on target, and that's why I'm trying to do these things to keep myself on target. What I'm saying is that I told him straight out, I don't appreciate the way that you have let your friend, who you wanted to cite their struggles on as a defense against this, I don't appreciate the fact that you left them thinking I'm some sort of fucking psychopathic evil person, right? I don't appreciate it. I don't like it. And that if this is who you gotta be, I told him, remember, name of film. I told him, remember this friend. Remember the fact that you yourself were you were you were just in tears practically because of like the shit that this person was saying to you, and all you were was a white friend. And you're like, wait, there was a line drawn in the sand, and this is what's going to happen to you too. I told him this because I predicted it. I'm predicting this because of historical stuff that's happened in our lives, not as a whole people, not the royal we, the lives of he and I, me and him. I'm not an English major, by the way. And I have to tell you, on a note related to that, by the way, if you're going to use any of what I say against me, or use my lack of education, or anything else you want to make fun of, the fact that I have a freaking framed picture of my cat at a time I didn't even know my cat. This was a gift, by the way, from my roommate's grandmother, who gave me my cat that I have today. I picked her up when she was about 7 months old. And my roommate's grandmother is going to take care of her anyway. Anyway, she gave me this as a Christmas present. It's adorable, and it's I love the face that she's making. It's like my portrait. But this isn't a video for cats. That having been said, it's okay. It's okay to interject a little bit of humor. It's okay to interject a little bit of side conversation. I'm not being paid to make a speech right now. This is just a video. What of it? Is it going to get any views? I don't know. But the thing is, I told him, like, you need to do what's best for you right now. But what's best for me is having friends who are not going to villainize me or be okay with leaving the conversation in such a way that I appear to be a villain. By the way, my favorite's a group of characters in movies. I'm not helping my case at all. But to demonize me like that, really, you might have not done it directly, but you're allowing it to happen. People like that don't belong in our lives. They don't. And as somebody that's moved around, I've put up with it a lot. And again, I go get into all this. I'll try to keep like certain videos very precise and on point. I don't know how successful I'm going to be, but on the way home from work today, I've been keeping notes and stuff. And let me just say, thank God for Google and its organization and its free word processor. Okay, absolutely. Let me say thank you for that. I don't have time in my life for people that aren't going to stand by me anymore. And you can not stand by me. You can disagree with me. That's fine. But when we have to get on such a level that you're throwing insults and all that, like, the point of it is, if we can't talk together, if we can't actually, by the way, I don't have like a lazy eye or anything, and that's not an insult against people with lazy eyes. It's just, I think the camera's actually technically over here, and I'm kind of looking off at myself to the left. So the basic point, all of this wrapped up, is I can no longer associate myself with a party as a whole that accepts this as commonplace, and it's all over now. The thing is, this is a whole nother video, and you can find any number of videos about how the internet has just turned us into these savage people, with no feelings, no humanity left to listen to the other side. And so I said, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a good hard look at myself. And I did. I spent a good long little while after that, good couple weeks, looking inward and saying, okay, I have openly been a Democrat for years. And why have I been a Democrat for years? Well, because, of course, family and friends say, well, oppose the Republicans. And when I was younger, as I grew older, in the early years, it used to be okay to be a Democrat and to be a Republican. There were different sides of the fence, and you probably knew that you weren't going to be going to any meeting, okay, of like, say, the Young Republicans. I was a member of the Valley Young Democrats because I went there for half a year, actually. That's crazy. Um, but it used to be okay. It's like, we'll steer clear, whatever, and we don't villainize the other side. We might poke fun, but guess what? It's okay to poke fun. That's what these, things like, Saturday Night Live are for. Second City and all that stuff. It's okay to make fun of yourself and to take jokes, for the love of God. look at all the look at all the hilarious impersonations in the Clinton administration, like SNL during the Clinton administration. Oh, solid gold. Um, the thing is, what this is coming down to is I have decided to leave the left, and the problem is I have left the left because all of a sudden, out of nowhere, and I'm saying this perfectly honestly, as somebody who was raised to believe that the Democrat side is the right side. I'm not going to say I was indoctrinated. I'm an adult. I can make my own decisions. But it became commonplace in my brain to associate this and this with this, right? Let's say, for example, Fox News, right? Never watched Fox News growing up. But I did start listening to the Sirius XM station. I think they have their own Sirius XM station. And interestingly enough, I really liked that because there were different viewpoints. And it wasn't like segments where it is like on TV where they'll say, okay, this is the issue, and you already know where we stand on this because we're a very conservative news focused network. And here's somebody from the other side. Okay, now I like that well enough. A lot of the times it can appear, I'm not insinuating this is the case, it can very much appear like they're hoping to get people on that may not have their arguments all together. It's the very same thing when you see videos entitled Ben Shapiro destroys blah blah blah, or Candace Owens destroys blah 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 blah. I'm not a psychic, but I'm almost 100% certain that they had nothing to do with those titles, and I am certain they had nothing to do with those titles on Ben's side because I was actually listening to a response he had to somebody specifically calling out those videos, saying I don't really know if it's about that or that. It's like they want to do that because well, here's the fun part, they get to be like with each other. That's what people want. That's what gets views. That's what gets views. Told you. But the thing is, I opened up my mind, and I'm looking at a lot of the things that people are doing, and nobody on this whole side of the fence is doing anything about it. Nothing. If you're closer to the middle, let's say the Democrat side of the left, then that's still fine. You're still putting in your contributions and what you think is right, and that's what this country was founded on. If you're a liberal, well, oh boy, it's a very I guess middle place of its own to be. Just as I would say conservatives, Republicans, and the right-wing extremists would be, Westboro Baptist Church, all those people. It's hard to be a liberal anymore because you're going to have circles of friends that are sharing things, and they're sharing it blindly. And if they say they're not sharing it blindly, they're lying. Because if you were to be looking at stuff, some of these things, it's just like, how do you stand behind this? How do you do it? And you ask them these questions. Okay, not even that necessarily. Just, can you explain to me what this is all about? Well, Google it. Here's the article. Where do you stand on this? Oh, well, you're an enemy. And I'm not just saying that hypothetically. I was just, pretty much tossed aside by a friend of mine, and their shitty friend was just saying nothing but, oh, they're not really a member of the community. They're just a troll. They're just something like this. And the fact is, you can say that. It doesn't make it so. At the end of the day, this has become a very long video, and I have to apologize for that. But I told you, I made this video because I came home on my way home from work today, just thinking about the fact that it's like, okay, I'm considering getting into this and this and this, and actually taking this to new heights and actually trying to raise awareness. And yeah, I don't have a common, like really centralized thing other than make dialogue okay again. All right? It needs to be okay again, and it's important. It's also important to look inward to ourselves and really say, okay, we can disagree with what people are saying, but we're a human being, and we know. A big video that I want to make about is the transgender experience, and have a message saying that you're not your gender, you're not your political stance, you're not your political party, you're not a transgender person. You are an adult. You are a human being. You are a living thing that happens to have, yes, this side of themselves, but that doesn't have to be all about what you're about. And that's just it. It's okay for me to be transgender. It's all right. I myself have always, since my starting of this about 3 years ago, actually, very, very precise and, dare I say, even more conservative views about it. And that if I'm not being wronged, okay, if somebody misgenders me, so what? It depends on the context a little bit, but there's no context where I would ever go, what the fuck is wrong with you? You have misgendered me. Ah! It's not okay. It's not, because we're not that trans friend to our friends. And if we are, it's high time you find some better friends, because, like, that's not who we are. We're people. And I myself have always had people, even some family members, who have been on the right side of things. And the thing is, this video itself isn't advocating for the right. This video is explaining kind of what this is all about. And what I was alluding to earlier is, I mean, throw them at me, okay? Like, the insults, this and that. Go for it if it makes you feel better. But I became tired of it. And that is why my platform is to Trans-cend. A little dash right after these. That is going to be something that I'm looking forward to writing. And I think it's going to hopefully, raise a couple eyebrows, being like, maybe about that. The inspiration, by the way, the inspiration for this was, admittedly, I mentioned them both by name earlier, Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens. If you're not familiar with them, please, for the love of God, I hate to say this, but YouTube them, Google them. They are people who are kind of on pretty much the same side of everything, but absolutely on the same side as what I'm getting at here, which is that it's okay to think outside the norm. It's okay to really take a step back and say, okay, what is really going on here? What can we really do to help with change? That's what it is. Ben Shapiro is obsessed with facts, and I don't want to use obsessed like a insult or anything like that. But he's very well versed in reading up on things and taking things, even not completely literally, but really just getting down to the bottom of them and saying, okay, here's why this is wrong. Blah 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 blah. I don't even know the context of how some of these things get out there. Candace Owens, on the other hand, is a young black woman who has decided that enough is enough. And she feels that black people have been used essentially as a political tool, which I completely agree with. And if I may be so bold, that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm leaving the left, is because I feel the same thing about trans people. These issues are getting brought up, but how much of it is issue and how much of it is feelings? And that's where the two come together, and that's where I come in. I said, okay, I would like to be a voice on some things too. I would like to get a dialogue going. But I said, okay, how do I do that? And I thought, okay. I was thinking about it earlier today, and I said, okay, what if I took a stand on one topic to begin with, and tried to use that to open up dialogue? And so I decided that, especially because this is what a lot of my book is going to be focusing on, and I say that knowing that it could be 4 years from now, and I'm still probably never going to finish it unless I really crack down on it. I decided that now's a better time than ever to come home from work, put aside my recreational activities for a second, and make this video. Create this new channel, right? If you stuck with me this long, you're obviously in it for something. I could even put a warning like, warning, it's my first long video. the point is that I want to be a part of this, right? I want to jump on the train of change. I want to jump on, I guess, being an activist, being something, doing something with my life that's going to benefit my people. And the thing is, I say my people, meaning humanity, for the love of God, and more specifically, the life of my country, which is America. Okay. And there's going to be a lot to say. There's going to be a lot to sift through. And like I said, I'm going to be trying to keep it a little bit organized. And since, I like to pretty much, word vomit all over a Word document, then that should be pretty good. Um, I've already got some things I'm kind of getting on in the works here. I'm also trying to work up on starting a small business, so you'll have to bear with me. But it's really all going to be determined on you guys. Really, that's going to be the end of the end of the road of where does this go. Is if this starts getting views, it starts getting comments and stuff. I want to be a community driven YouTube channel, meaning that if there's something you want to talk about specifically, let's talk about it. And again, the purpose and everything like that, the real clear-cut goals, absolutely, let's do that. I just got home today and I decided, okay, I could want to go a lot of places with what I'm trying to do with my newfound independent mental freedom, you could call it. I said, okay, well, I'd like to jump right to the top. I want to be a representative, I want to be a House representative or a senator. Okay, well, that dream's a little bit bigger than just jumping right into it, but that doesn't mean that I can't get involved in something right now. And this is also the other purpose, the other side of this, is to create as much learning opportunity as I can. Once again, I mean, I graduated high school. I have an associate's in theater, and by the way, feel free to use that as an insult against me if you have the disagreements that you want to get personal with it. Yes, I have an AA in theater. Ooh, so does everybody else who went to school for 2 minutes. I know. Not the case though. Not it's not as clear cut as all that, but kind of. I mean, after all, it led me here. And that's because I'm an artist and I'm a free thinker, and I like to pretty much go with things until it's time for a change. And it's time for a change now. It's time to transcend the politics. It's time to transcend the hatred and really get back to talking about things. And I think the more people that actually take a moment and listen, the better. Again, I'm going to be trying to push this. I'm going to be trying to make these things happen. I'm only one person, okay? There is, last I just Googled today, over 7 million people in Washington state alone. All right? I'm one of 7 million people. And I didn't even grow up here, but that's where I live now. And I'm looking at this as, okay, what can I do around my area? What can I do with all that? We live in the age of social media. We live in the age where you read stuff and you watch stuff online, and that's, your final say-so for some people. Obviously, for many people who I've lost as friends. And I'm not, by the way, saying that none of this had any context of anything to do wrong with me or anything like that, because believe me, there were some times where I let my emotion get the better of me, and I made the decision that I would rather act out of hurt than out of reason. Believe me, I'm not perfect. My thing is this. I'm a 33-year-old American transgender woman who has decided that enough is enough. I mean, social media isn't going anywhere. That's pretty clear. But it doesn't have to be the final say for what we think as independent thinkers. And that's what I want to happen, is to have a dialogue going on. Not just all these shared posts of preaching to the choir and not doing anything about it. And that's pretty much where this is. So, if any of that interests you, please feel free to share this video, like, comment, subscribe. Only because, again, like I said, I mean, it asked me when I set up the profile, do you want to disable, ads and blah, 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 blah. And I should clarify that. It didn't ask me straight out the gate. I went to go edit the channel stuff and kind of put in a comment about the purpose of the channel, stuff like that. And there was the thing right there. I'm not going to turn them off. Okay, if there's going to be money in this, there's going to be money in this. I'm not saying that's not going to be the case. Hell, maybe it'll be able to help me actually freaking publish my book if I have to do it independently. That'd be even better, right? what I'm saying is, if any of this interests you, please feel free to follow this. And as the days go on, please feel free to leave a comment. Let me know what you want to talk about. Let me know what's troubling you. Let me know if you're afraid to speak out against something. Use an anonymous profile, absolutely, if you want to. I'm not saying you have to come out into the public forum and assert your position, because I encourage people almost not to if they don't feel safe, because it's dangerous out there. Like I said, there are militant organizations that are not government run that are out there hurting people badly. Okay? So do your own thing for your own safety. But this is me starting a dialogue, and this is me really getting stuff out there. This is only the first step of many. And like I said, this is me doing the thing you can do today. Have an opinion about something. Speak out about it. Because guess what? While I might not be able to run, okay, for the House or the Senate or anything like that, it can seem way above our range. But the fact is, with hard work and persistence, we can at least become eligible for these things. And the rest is popular vote, That's it. So I'm doing something right now, and I want you to too. So tell me what you think in the comments down below. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe, and thank you so much for joining me here. I really hope to be putting out some videos in the future. Take care.